ARLA and the NAEA, are they any good?
Absolutely. And this is one thing I think is quite interesting. As you know, I've recently taken a board position and become a director of Property Mark. And the reason I did it with my changing role, I actually have a bit more time, and it's not a bad thing to give back to the industry. But one thing I have been amazed at since the rebrand of Property Mark, and having now seen what's going on the internet.
So for those of the people that don't know, Property Mark is the...
So Property Mark is the overall brand which oversees NAEA Property Mark and ARLA Property Mark,
Okay.
And obviously covering residential and lettings. And one thing I have been amazed at is actually how involved Property Mark is behind the scenes with government legislation. Absolutely right.
Oh, really? I've not seen or heard anything.
I think actually that's probably part of an area that probably needs focusing on. They have moved tremendously with regards to advising and being involved in Westminster, helping with legislation, which is brilliant for the industry.
But the industry doesn't know.
I think there are certain things that they can't disclose, if I'm honest with you. And I think equally, it's one of those things when you're actually involved in something day to day, how many of us actually communicate correctly, what all of us do really.
True.
I think one thing that's been amazing to me, having got involved, is the amount of actual training materials available, the quality and standard of the actual courses that are available, and the support as well. I mean, there's a lot of members out there don't necessarily use the full package that's there. And as the market changes and as legislation increases and as we emerge into possibly, licensing or what have you, I think Property Mark itself will become a much more integral part of the industry. And I think it's certainly somewhere where I would say to anybody that is maybe running their own business and looking for support and looking for what the next thing to do is, it's certainly becoming much more credible and much more dynamic from where I'm sitting on the inside.
So what would you recommend to the board of Property Mark, what they should do the next year, 2 years, 3 years to get that message out there to us members?
I think having come in fresh to that, I think probably being in a position where maybe we can reach out a little bit more for people to understand. But conversely, I think equally you are looking at people in the industry probably realising that in order to progress and in order to stay relevant in the industry, individual companies need to engage and get involved. You can't have the same small amount of companies involved pushing and representing the industry. It needs collective involvement, really.
Do you think there's a lot of agents out there that want the ANEA and the ARLA to do it for them but not actually get involved themselves then?
I think that's why people look to member organisations to do that, but they're only ever in a position to do it if they understand what people want. And is
it a case of the more you put in, the more you get out?
I think it's like that with everything, Chris. I mean, if you look at David Cox, Mark Hayward, they work extremely hard, very hard people, very dedicated to what they do, and they are making credible differences for the industry, and I think it's great to see that. What I would personally like to see is probably a little bit more involvement from grassroots membership, a little bit more support, because I think at the end of the day, it's our industry, and if we don't take control of our industry and we don't talk to and engage with local government and regional government and Westminster, they will never get a full representation of what we as an industry truly want. They take it from core samples, which isn't necessarily representative.
Thank you.